Hi. Hello to everybody who's tuning in now. So I was thinking quite long and hard today about what to make a video on, and I want to talk about, it's actually while I was in the shower, kind of came to me this thought that we all go through, and it's something that we seem to find growing up, and we either let it bother us and eat us up, or we decide to learn from it and heal. So what I'm talking about is triggering. So you will find that previously in your life, something that somebody does will really get under your skin. It will really irritate you. It will really make you angry. And have you actually thought about the reason behind why this is making you upset? Very rarely is this ever to do with the incident at hand or what specifically is happening. The reason that we get triggered and the reason that we get upset is because it creates an emotional response within us. Now, this is because something has happened similar to this before and it's reminding us about this. Or it's the fact that something similar has happened again and again and again and again. And it's layering of emotion over emotion over emotion that then erupts and it comes out of us. An example of this. So, prime example of this could be not being able to handle lots of loud noises from children. So children running around, children being happy, children being excited. And when you feel this creates a fear of anxiety, creates a fear of stress within you. So when you actually take yourself out of the situation and you look at what's going on, it isn't that specific situation that's bothering you, that's upsetting you. So what you need to do is you need to look back through it and you need to unravel and think, okay, what happened to me in my childhood? And it may be that you look back and you as you start unraveling and as you start realizing that actually in your childhood you weren't allowed to be a child and you weren't allowed to run around and make noise, and you were told to sit there and be a child and only speak when you're spoken to and not run around and not make noise, so that when this happens now as an adult and you're around this kind of environment and this situation, what happens is it triggers you and it takes you back to that time of you being that child. So it takes you back to being reminded that you're being scolded, that you've been told off, that maybe you were running in the house and your parents screamed at you and they shouted, "Stop running!" And it's created this fear and this panic within you. So then what happens as an adult? There's a trigger, there's a reminder, and something happens. And it creates that same feeling that we had within us. So the reason I'm talking about triggers today is because triggers, they are a godsend. They're an absolute godsend because it's the universe showing us ways, and it's our own bodies showing us ways in which we can heal. So when you're doing any type of healing work, what I would always suggest is look at your triggers. So triggers are usually something that would cause a reaction within you, such as anger, anxiety, fear, stress, sadness. All of these triggers are actually things that we can look at and we can delve into much further, because when you start to unravel them and you start to find, actually, this is the reason that I've been triggered, you then start to realize that it no longer becomes a trigger for you because you're aware of it and you can select it and you can switch into it. So what happens is you can be aware of it. So you will be aware and you will have an understanding that, for example, you're in the park and the kids are running around and they're screaming and you're getting to the point where you feel like, I can't handle this. Something within me, it's causing anxiety or stress or fear or panic, whatever it may be. When you can actually take a breath and realize that this goes back to your childhood, or maybe this goes back to an incident in school where a teacher shouted at you, or maybe this goes back to a time 3 or 4 weeks ago. There are always things that will be around to trigger us, but when we can use these triggers for our own self-growth, they are absolutely amazing. So have you found that maybe you don't like when, or you feel jealous. For example, you're at work. This is a good example. You're at work and you are a very team oriented person, but you find that you get upset or you get jealous when somebody else does well at work. You, on the outside, you want to be happy for them and you praise them, and they're your friend, and you want to give them as much praise and of your happiness and their happiness that they can have as possible. However, deep down inside, you have this feeling that, why was that not me? Why did I not get that? Why was I not given that? And that feeling, whether it be jealousy, whether it be sadness, whether it may even possibly be rejection, again, that is a trigger for you because it's creating a very strong emotional response. And it doesn't have to be a response that we express physically. We can just feel it within inside us. That as well is a trigger. It's also a trigger. So again, that could go back to, it could go back to something in your childhood where your parents never made you feel good enough. And they always praised other people, but they didn't make you feel special. So it could go back to that. So these are really, really strong indicators of areas that we can grow and areas that we can look at. So hopefully this will help you today. Have a look. And it's been a very short video talking about this, but I can make another video if you'd like and go into much more detail about pinpointing and unraveling how you can work out what your triggers are and how you can follow them back to what the possible cause is. But ultimately, once you understand that a trigger is something that has happened previously in your past and that's why it's causing the response, it will help you to handle the situation in the present so much more differently, so differently. So I hope it's helped, and put any feedback or any questions that you have in the comments.